and also hopefully the sound of my voice. Not sure which one's worse, but all good. Sweet, cool. If that one needs to come down at any point, just give me a signal. So I've got separate inputs for you, so I can mix it up and down. A clash of polarity awaits in the driving showers at CB Smith. Round 24 action, which pits two sides at the opposite ends of the NPL Victoria table against one another for a valuable 3 points, the prize on offer for these two sides' respective ambitions to close out the final month of football in season 2024. Will it be crucial points for Moreland in their quest for safety? They are 6 points adrift. If two are going down, that is at least how many they'll need to pick up from the remaining 12 available to save their souls and the potential threat of dropping down to VPL 1. It can do funny things to relegation-threatened sides. Desperation, it can spring surprises, but make no mistake, this is a stern test that faces them in their penultimate home match of the season today. The visiting Heidelberg United, who have lost just 3 games all season, but crucially, they are 3 games that have all come in their last 3 away meetings. They've had a tough time of it on the road in the second half of season 2024, but they will be hoping to build on what was a brilliant and comprehensive victory against Melbourne Knights at Olympic Village last week, and it is the visiting Burgers side who get us underway, attacking the right-hand side of the screen in their classic yellow strips. hopeful in their own right of 3 points today at CB Smith for the first time in a while. It was at this venue in round 24 last season where Moreland actually sprung something of a surprise and upset the Burgers right before their defeat to Oakley in the Doherty Cup final. And this Burgers side have a far different outfit to the one that suffered defeat here in 2023 in the final year of the George Katsakis era. They are a defensive juggernaut. They need to add some more goals, and they'll be hoping to do so today as they look to seal a top 2 spot by season's end. A week off in the first phase of finals, a home final 2. But in these conditions, the pitch heavy as it is, it's going to be a tricky task. And we know how desperate Moreland are for points. There's Ben Collins on the ball. He started every game under John Anastasiadis. There is only one change to the victorious lineup of last week. And here is an early chance for the Burgers. Mars is looking to curl one. It's spilled in the middle. Open net. Can't be tucked home on the first instance. But in the blink of an eye, Asahi Yokokawa gets the Burgers on the score sheet. It took all of 100 seconds at CB Smith. But the deadlock breaks, courtesy of the Japanese attacker, and we mentioned the conditions and how they might play a factor. Well, they've played in favour of the visiting Burgers. An early goal, a nerve settler in these conditions, and a bitter pill to swallow for the cellar dwellers, Moreland City, who will be kicking themselves at the fashion in which they conceded that goal. It was an unfortunate spillage off the shot of Leo Marzis by Alex Condolian. Josh Pinn attempted to walk it home. And then after another stab and a swing and a miss from Nick Olsen, Asahi Yokokawa in the long sleeves and the black gloves made no mistake for what was his 6th goal of the season, and back-to-back weeks on the scorer's sheet for the Japanese attacker. They have struggled on the road in recent times, John Anastasiadis' side. 3 straight defeats away from home. And they had gone 293 minutes without scoring away from Olympic Village. And in under 2 minutes, they have put those concerns to rest. David Ostojic will be fairly disappointed, but there is at least still plenty of time for them, and you get the feeling that the pitch today will throw up some surprises. Only one change as well today for David Ostojic's Moreland City side. An experienced head into the 11, Apaya Kuno leading the line in place of Curtis Miley, who drops out of the squad. And there is Apaya Kuno setting a task for the wide man Aidan Croucher. A swift response would go down a treat as Croucher swings it in but just overcooks it. And not even the Moreland City shirt at the back stick in Diego Cuba will be able to haul that in. Not quite the fastest goal in this NPL Victoria season, but will certainly be in the upper tiers. Here is Croucher. Heavy touch. It's easily nipped in the bud by Anthony Lesiotis, the former Victory, Western Sydney and Melbourne City midfielder. And here is a chance to strike back for Moreland City. A solid shot repelled by Yaron Souza. There's a venomous drive from the player that Heidelberg will have to be on their guard for today, Christos Theodorakopoulos. Recently returned to Moreland colours. 9 goals this season for the former Manningham man. The side against whom he scored twice last week in that 3-3 draw at Petty's Reserve. Does have a knack, Christos Theodorakopoulos, of scoring against his old sides. And he did so against Moreland for Manningham earlier this year. He scored twice on the 13th of April. David Stojic would love him to repeat the trick several months removed. It's been a good response to going behind from the hosts, but that's a cheap turnover. Marzis can't find the feet of Josh Pinn. You may be able to hear in our effects mic some serious background bluster, which is probably favouring the left-hand side of your screen if you're watching on at home. So the goal that Moreland City are attacking. Cuba with acreage and dropped in behind nicely for Akuno. Not many options in the box, so stopping and propping and feeding Kasra Karamat. Nice little roll. Theodorakopoulos at the edge of the box. He can hit them, but won't get the chance to. Idara under pressure from Theodorakopoulos, and Souza. Yeah, in these conditions, John Anastasiadis, he does like to have his sides keep the ball on the deck, but in conditions such as these, I think Yaron Souza was left with little option. Of course, it's not an unfamiliar place, CB Smith, for the Heidelberg Gloveman. As a former Pascoe Vale player, got his start at their spiritual home, Hoskin Reserve, but they also play their fair share of games here at CB Smith. This is first at the venue since the 4th of May 2018 in a 3-2 win against Bulleen Lions for Pascoe Vale. Nicholas Olsen. These are critical junctures for Moreland. 4 games remaining to save their season. Every touch just has an extra weight of pressure and importance. And that one was difficult to deal with for Aiden Croucher. Akuno couldn't trap it. The wind and the rain we've mentioned, but there, as you can probably spot, is a real heaviness about the pitch. We've taken our fair share of rain beatings in recent weeks in Melbourne. CB Smith, which is home to upwards of 3 or 4 clubs, has certainly felt the effects. You can see some heavier areas in each goalkeeper's technical area and along the halfway lines as well. Arrow blets that back for Condolian, who got a bit betwixt and between there, had to just head out for safety unless he handle the ball outside his area. Spall to a bit of a cul-de-sac, and Thomas trying to thread the needle. It's Idara finding Olsen. Plenty of coverage from Navy shirts. Zara darts the eyes up. There's a driven shot and parried away nicely by Alex Condolian. A handy effort from Asahi Yokokawa. Not that we expect anything less these days, but he was not a million miles away from doubling his money inside the opening 10 minutes here at CB Smith. If you were late to join us, it was Asahi Yokokawa inside 105 seconds to put the visiting Burgers in the ascendancy. Olsen's delivery to the penalty spot, and Zara heading wide, nearly chipping in with the captain's goal in what is a milestone match of sorts for Adrian Zara. Plays his 250th game in the top flight of Victorian football today. Of course, those top flight records, including the old VPL, so pre-NPL, played about 45 of those 250 for Melbourne Knights. There's a name synonymous with Heidelberg United. Congratulations to Adrian Zara on yet another milestone in Victorian football. He's already the 5th all-time NPL appearance maker. He's in the top 5 for Heidelberg United appearances in that era as well. Leapfrogged Les Dumbalis earlier this year. Hasn't had too much to do so far. So got another game running concurrently to this one as well. Avondale in action at Avenger Park against Dandenong Thunder. Well, that has fallen perfectly into the lap of Olsen, and Pin is in the middle. And he's cutting a bit of a frustrated figure as Olsen is unable to pick him out. And frustration not limited to the face of the Queenslander Josh Pin. I think Diego Cuba is maybe chastising his captain Corey Thomas for forcing the issue of fraction. You don't want to cough up the ball this Heidelberg side because they have tricky players like Leo Masters and Yokokawa who combine beautifully and go close to making it 2. Well, they weathered a little mini burst of Moreland pressure, and now they are back on top once more. Theodoropoulos runs out of real estate. His 3rd successive start under Johnny A. I think he made 8 straight sub appearances before returning to the 11 against St Albans Saints. We'll be hoping that lightning strikes twice at CB Smith, because his last NPL Victoria goal was almost a year ago, about 51 weeks to be exact, here against Moreland City at CB Smith. Ultimately in defeat. Croucher happy to leave that one for a throw. They did not enjoy playing Moreland City at all last season, but well, even this year they proved a tricky proposition at Olympic Village in the round 10 reverse fixture. Required a 90th minute goal from Josh Pin to seal it 3-2. Zara has lost it in stride, and now Jose Sands for Moreland City to the right side, and a little deflection. It'll be a corner for the hosts. First of the afternoon. Can they make their mark from a set piece? That's the question. Tough conditions for football, but hasn't stopped the contest from entertaining inside 13 minutes. The in-swinger is a good one. Kerr-Harob was there, but Collins first to the scene of the crime. Croucher. Kuno given one to chase, but Collins, as he so often does, is calm beyond his years. A half tracker from Olsen back to Theodoropoulos. Theodoropoulos robbed of it by Lesiotis. He's had a solid game as the screener so far. Have to be careful in these phases. So they're good enough at picking you apart in possession. If you give them the counter-attack in space, they can be really dangerous, Heidelberg. And here's Asahi Yokokawa, or rather Leo Marzis on the drive and standing it up past the willing targets in the middle. As the rain has picked up a notch here in Faulkner. Grandstand at CB Smith not providing much in the way of respite. Those dreaded days where the rain blows, or the wind blows the rain into the grandstand. Arob, big up and under to the bluster. Great ball from Thomas. Akuno has it taken off him by Lesiotis, and the referee Mark Tito signalling in favour of the home side. They haven't really had a happy hunting ground home or away this season. 7 of their 11 points this year have come at home. Of course, 3 of their points this year a result of a forfeit from Avondale for fielding an ineligible player. So if you come at it from the perspective of points they've won in terms of football on the park, it is almost all of them that have arrived at CB Smith. They'll be hoping that holds them in good stead for what remains in this game, because they're going to need to conjure something special today and in the final month of the season to stay up. Olsen attacking Aiden Croucher. Theodoropoulos slides it for pin. Oh, and that was nearly a brilliant ball from the Queenslander. Excited to see him back up top today, Josh Pinn. Kane Shepherd didn't start last week, but not even on the bench today. Absent from the squad. And it should be mentioned that Moreland in their own right have got their fair share of absentees. You might be able to spot against the fence Michael Soutsidis, their star central defender. And Fletcher Fulton. 2 players who are usually walk-up starters. Theodoropoulos. Also thwarted by a combination of Cuba and Theodorakopoulos. Looking to get things moving quickly was Karamad. And that's nipped in the bud. Jose Sands standing it up. Akuno, the header. Lacks a bit of purchase in the end. It's still alive though. Theodorakopoulos into the penalty spot and away by the Burgers defence. Just seemed to sit up in the wind, the header from Apai Akuno. Can they break back the other way, Heidelberg? Marzis turning on the afterburners. Yokokawa making a tantalising run, but never found. And down goes Christos Theodorakopoulos, and a pressure-relieving free kick for the home side. Forward by Condolian. Ben Collins has racked up the clearances inside the opening 20 minutes. Jose Sands. To Matt Spall. An open space to work with for Josh Pinn. It's been end-to-end the footballing contest so far. Olsen. A curler, Yokokawa, was sort of caught in 2 minds with that one. It is pelting down here at CB Smith now. Back at the feet of Yaron Souza. been one of the cornerstones alongside Ben Collins in the John Anastasiadis era at Heidelberg, but also a rock-solid defence. 60 saves going into this game. The 27-year-old, 11 clean sheets, equal with South Melbourne's Javi Lopez. Yokokawa couldn't feed the feet of Josh Pinn. Now it's at the feet of Nicholas Olsen, who's almost trying to use the elements to his advantage there. Just get his boot underneath the ball, put a lot of spin on it, and hope that the wind might guide it into the top corner. Conditions as testing as these, not the worst idea. Feel as though the live pictures you're getting at home are giving you a pretty good idea of what things are like to play on the pitch at the moment, but I think nothing sums it up better than pre-match the Heidelberg subs walked out to do their mini warm-up, and I won't name the sub in question, but the step out in the first squelch of mud was met with a big exasperated far out. That's winter football in Victoria for you. Despite that, a good game inside 22 minutes. Heidelberg lead it through Asahi Yokokawa. They may draw inspiration from the fact that some of their better performances this year have come at home, Moreland. They may also draw inspiration from Heidelberg struggles away, but that may be a moot point as Olsen has slipped in behind the Moreland defence, strikes the post. Well, Nicholas Olsen can't believe he hasn't made it 2-0 to Heidelberg United. Mohamed Aidara on his left shoulder can't believe that he wasn't afforded the opportunity to do the same. Aidara is absolutely furious with Olsen. I have to say, I think the 28-year-old was within rights to have an effort there, and he did hit the post. He wasn't very far away. This bouncing ball might cause a bit of problem. Jose Sands and Adrian Zara, the two number 9s, coming together. And it is the one in navy blue who concedes the free kick. And it is a tough task ahead of the bottom place side. All of Heidelberg's defeats have been away from home. 70% of their goals conceded in what has otherwise been a rock-solid defence have been on the road. Maybe those are mathematics that Moreland can exploit as it goes in the middle, and Collins clears once again. It's a slightly heavy touch from Olsen, but it's around the snapping advances of Kasra Karamad. They're getting past those first phases of pressure, Heidelberg. They are causing the Moreland City defence some serious problems. City defence that hasn't had any shortage of problems in the last few weeks. 18 goals conceded in the last month, an average of 4.5 a game. Up 6 against Melbourne Knights, 7 against Dandenong City, 3 against Manningham in a draw last week. But common thread is that these have all been away games. Kuno is given one to chase. Souza well in advance. That is with emphasis over the fence. run a far tighter ship, though, David Ostojić's side here at CB Smith. 18 goals conceded in the last 4 games, home and away. In the last 4 games at home, only 5 conceded, so certainly a tighter task when they face sides in Faulkner. It's not like they've absolutely caused havoc to the goal of Yaron Souza by any stretch of the imagination, but they have given him at least a little bit to think about. Get play back underway. Intercepted by Dean Waters. Condolian nearly took out his own teammate. It was almost the case of friendly fire, but it could work in the favour of Moreland. But Theodorakopoulos has his pass cut out. Olsen couldn't find Naidara. Sahi Okakara is on the deck. Moreland move on unperturbed. Sands just couldn't link up with Theodorakopoulos. Collins is cut out. They've got good numbers here, but well, when the luck isn't breaking your way, it just isn't breaking your way. And if Jose Sands didn't see the ground give away beneath his feet there, he would have been looking up at a 4-on-4 situation, man for man, against the Heidelberg defence. A good chance to score what would have been just a second goal in his last 8 games. He scored 5 in their last 6 games, Moreland, and 3 of those were last week. Can they change that equation? Theodorakopoulos' delivery meets the same end result as many a delivery so far tonight, or this afternoon. Ben Collins is having a fantastic game at the centre of defence. Zara up but not away. Akuno down. A free kick in a very promising position, awarded by Mark Tito. It was Akuno down, and a couple of challenges from the yellow shirts of Heidelberg. Anthony Lesiotis went up. Leo Marzis was in the vicinity too. I think in the end it was Marzis, the guilty party. And this could provide quite the opportunity for Moreland to strike against the bows. And up steps Christos Theodorakopoulos in his second Moreland City stint, looking to make it double digits for the season. A goal that would really give Moreland City some hope. All in readiness as it's Theodorakopoulos who whizzes past the post. You might have imagined that Souza had it covered were it to be on target, but he stepped up with an air of expectation. Did Christos Theodorakopoulos, and I'll tell you what, the 23-year-old very nearly delivered. We'll have to wait a fraction longer for his first home goal for Moreland City since the 11th of March last year. Yokokawa threads the needle, pin, just holds it up. 15 minutes to play in the first half. Moreland have done well to keep it at 1-0, but even if it stayed 1-0, it wouldn't do much for them. Theodorakopoulos loses out to Olsen. And here's Aiden Fedahajic. Adrian Zara. And top flight game 250. To Leo Marzis. And that's emphatically away by 26-year-old Dean Waters. No stranger to CB Smith. Signed from Brunswick-Venice. Oh, and Anthony Theodoropoulos is a lucky man not to have been robbed of the ball. Pumped up the line by Spall. Moreland City bench up in arms. No whistle from Mark Tito. Play continues. Nipping at the heels of Leo Marzis, but unable to reach the ball. And now Olsen on the far side. Nicholas Olsen to the byline. It's Nicholas Olsen winning a corner. As we mentioned, we're still, with 4 weeks to go, fate of the National Second Division notwithstanding, I'm not 100% certain whether it will be 2 or 1 teams relegated this year. And so they need points to try and get out of the top 2 as quickly as possible to Moreland City. And Heidelberg are making life very hard for them. Marzis strikes, and the player coming back from an offside position for Heidelberg, so no threat to the goal of Alex Condolian. Or rather, Akuno and Collins resume their battle. And the Warrior wins out. Leo Marzis returns the favour to Yokokawa. Deflected cross. Deflected cutback out for another Heidelberg corner. 2 in quick succession for the visitors. I think with the lead in their possession, as early as it was, a big goal of John Anastasiadis' side today, you would have to imagine, would be to really put the hurt on Moreland and add some more goals. They've scored the least of any side in the top 6 this season. They won't add it initially as Lesiotis, nothing more than a speculator. Alex Condolian will get a goal kick. Only 38 scored this season, which is 7th most in the competition. Of course, it's not as big a problem if you're scoring less goals if you're also conceding fewer. No one has conceded fewer than Johnny A's Burgers in 2024. Arob drives it in the Spall direction. He did well to make a fist of controlling that, but could only do so much. Yokokawa buys a yard against Spall. Oh, it's glanced off the head of Josh Pinn. I'm not sure how he managed to reach that one in flight. Olsen certainly wasn't expecting it. This time Akuno wins the aerial battle. Luck is not breaking the way of Moreland at the moment. Castro Karamad not best pleased about his first touch or lack thereof. Olsen, fortuitous not to spin into danger, and Sands has picked the pocket of Zara. Fedohajic got a touch, not necessarily the desired touch, but a good one nonetheless. One back by Cuba. Sands, Akuno lays it back to Jose Sands. And fingertipped over the top by Yaron Souza, who has been called into action sporadically in this first half, but has kept himself sharp enough to do the job every time. That ball is a fair way off the corner line, but it's going to come in anyway, unpunished, and the header is on goal! And there's a big shout for a handball, and Corey Thomas will have a hit. We'll have to have a look on the replay. Well, Moreland were well convinced, and the danger not averted. Sands couldn't clasp on the turn. And that would have been a controversial one, but Moreland are starting to offer more in attack. Heidelberg have been very close to putting the game well in their control in their own right, of course, but so long as it's just the one goal, it remains open for Moreland. And it is opening up for Moreland. Kasra Karamad. Look at how heavy the ball is through the middle of that muddy section of the pitch. Great flick from Karamad. Theodorakopoulos sliding it to Cuba. A decent cross, but Collins is just the master of those situations. Olsen had Dean Waters nipping at his heels. And they are so easy to watch when they move in flow. Heidelberg. This is great stuff, but Pin just couldn't control at the top of the penalty box. Croucher doesn't like the stuff that he likes further afield. You can hear him trying to make sure the magnets stay moving ahead of him. Thomas flips the field for Kerr Arab. Gets the eyes up, and can he find a gap in the middle? The answer is no. Fedohajic makes easy life of it. Arab. Back to Corey Thomas. It was he who scored his only goal of the season against Heidelberg in that 3-2 defeat back in round 10. It was Apai Akuno who scored the opener after 29 minutes to contend himself with a potential equaliser in this game as it currently stands. Or maybe not, because here come Heidelberg through Asahi Yokokawa. The dancing feet of Yokokawa, the needle threaded for Pin. Doesn't have a lot to aim at in the middle though, not a lot of tall timber, so it's flat for Olsen. And it's knocked away at full stretch by Corey Thomas. Stayed in play for Anthony Theodoropoulos. As we approach the final 5 minutes, that's a bit of a ho-hum pass. Akuno giving chase. And Souza clearing in frustration. They've got to be on their guard here. Moreland have got a bit of space to work with. Theodorakopoulos to Waters in an acre. And in the corner is Karamad. And in his way is Anthony Theodoropoulos. Kasra Karamad has had some bright flashes on this left-hand side, the former Melbourne City youth. Just his 13th appearance of the season. Christos Theodorakopoulos. Lovely disguised pass. Cuba! What a way to score your first NPL Victoria goal. What a time to score your first NPL Victoria goal. Moreland City level at CB Smith. And the warning signs had been there for the Burgers. What a massive goal that could be for the home side. And what a great goal it was from Diego Cuba. The disguise on the pass from Theodorakopoulos was excellent. And they haven't put many feet wrong today. Heidelberg United. But they let Moreland City have too easy an opening. And Diego Cuba took full advantages. The younger brother of Sian Cuba at Avondale. And we know he can score great goals. Evidently, it runs in the family. How did he manage to find himself in such a paddock? That's the question the Heidelberg defence will be asking. Totally unmarked was Diego Cuba, picked out by a cleverly disguised pass from Christos Theodorakopoulos, but there was still plenty of work to do from that point. Kurarob. And all of a sudden, this game feels tense and tight. Imagine if Moreland flipped the script before the break. Or do Heidelberg have some heartbreak in mind? Olsen. And now Anthony Lesiotis. Theodorakopoulos only has the run of Karamad to his left shoulder. And Karamad will look to turn on the trickery. Akuno making a decent run. Apai Akuno making himself a handful, but nothing to which Hayden Fedahajic can't handle. We mentioned they have been vulnerable away from home, Heidelberg. 18 goals now conceded this season, 13 of them away from Olympic Village. They haven't won here at CB Smith in 4 years. Mind you, they've not played many games since then. They lost the last one to Moreland City. And that last win here in Faulkner, 29th of February 2020, Heidelberg with a home side, a 3-1 win against Altona Magic. 2 penalties proving the difference from Adrian Zara. And they haven't had many head-to-head meetings in the modern era, Heidelberg and Moreland. It's just their 4th in the NPL era. And prior to Moreland City getting promoted, at least according to my stats, the last time these two sides were in the same division was 1969. 1969. Victorian Men's Metropolitan League Division 1. Try saying that a few times fast. Moreland City were operating under a different name back then. They were Coburg. It was pre their merger with the Moreland Park Rangers. So you can dispute whether it truly was Moreland City. Heidelberg were Fitzroy United Alexander. Which means that if you want to find the last time Heidelberg secured a league away win to Moreland City or its greater affiliates, you are going back 55 years, 3 months and 2 days to the 19th of April 1969, where Fitzroy United Alexander secured a 2-1 win. Ancient history. And doesn't Asahi Yokokawa's goal after 105 seconds feel like exactly that? Ancient history. Because Moreland have battled back. Could Heidelberg break back? I'll be delighted, David Stoyic's side, if they can head into the halftime interval level. It'll be scenes akin to pandemonium if they take a 2-1 lead. And Karamad has Akuno making a decent run, but fancy slightly offside. Waters off the hand. Arob. Little unintended flick over his head, but it's worked out. Akuno on the shoulder. Ooh. A biting challenge from Apai Akuno. can see Spiro, the Heidelberg United superfan, has come across to make his case about the severity of that challenge on Anthony Theodoropoulos. It was a stiff one from Apaya Kuno, but it looks as though he'll escape without sanction. He might not be the favourite figure in Heidelberg United's eyes at the moment. Far from it, Apaya Kuno, but he is certainly one of the favourite figures at Moreland City. 9 seasons with the club. Today, his 174th appearance, and he has been there for the highs, the lows of that infamous 2018 promotion relegation playoff game, and the highs of their first ever promotion to the top flight of Victorian football. And now he's fighting to keep them in the top division of Victorian football. It's a bit of a half-baked clearance. Souza just having to put his boot through it. These are not favourable conditions for a goalkeeper. And this is not a favourable sight for the Moreland defence as Heidelberg have the man advantage. Pin is slipped in. Decision for Mark Tito. And what is the call here? The Moreland players surround from every direction. Pin stays on the deck. And it is kicking off a little bit before the half-time interval. Condolian was on the turf too. And Mark Tito has some serious sorting out to do before we get to the break. Well, what is happening at the end of all this and at the end of this half? Pin made the beautiful run in the shoulder, or over the shoulder of Kerr Arob. Looked to have caught a bit of contact on the way. Well, that was the question that Heidelberg were asking, and then in feeling the contact, Pin lost his footing and caught a bit of Alex Condolian. Based on the body language, I am going to say that it is not a penalty. Based on the body language, based on the somewhat unsavoury language you might have picked up on the effects mark too, I'm going to say it is a free kick in favour of Moreland, and that is a decision that is much to the disbelief of Heidelberg United. So, controversy to end the half, and a caution to end the half for Josh Pin, who can't quite believe that the decision has gone against him. If you decide that it's not a penalty, then Josh Pin has definitely given away a free kick, but he definitely slid in, caught the keeper, didn't get the ball. That part was a foul, but Heidelberg, well within their rights to ask the question as to whether the earlier little tug from Kerr Arob was worthy of a whistle in its own right. But Moreland survive a scare as the first half ends in acrimony at CB Smith, and it ends all square. It's actually been a really good 45 minutes in trying conditions. Both sides have absolutely tried their best. Heidelberg hit the front in the blink of an eye. It took them 105 seconds to find an opening goal through Asahi Yokokawa. And it was a bitter pill to swallow for Moreland City. And Heidelberg could well have made it too, but they failed to find a second finish. And it left the door ajar for Diego Cuba to bring the cellar dwellers level with a cracker. the action didn't end there. 1-1 after 41 minutes. And Heidelberg United feel like they should have had a chance to make it 2-1 in the 4th minute of first half stoppage. A big penalty shout waved away. Hence the fluid conversations that you can hear as we head to the halftime whistle. But the frustration probably influenced by the fact that Heidelberg don't have the lead. And the side on the bottom of the table are well and truly in this contest. It is all to play for on the other side of the half. And if it's anything like the opening 45, and we've got a big second stanza to come. Don't go anywhere. We'll join you on the other side of the break here at CB Smith. The halftime score is Moreland City 1, Heidelberg United 1. Well, the weather may be rotten, but the football has been anything but. As round 23 action sees Moreland City, the 14th place side in NPL Victoria, locked at 1 apiece with Heidelberg United after 45 minutes played. But that could be about to change early as it swung into the middle in the direction of Josh Pinn. And it was, or is rather, a 1-1 ball game that frankly looked unlikely after 105 seconds of play, when Asahi Yokokawa scored the opener in the blink of an eye. But Moreland have equalised through Diego Cuba, and they are surviving a scare here through Adrian Zara. Wilson somehow manages to keep it alive, but they have a similarly fast start to the second half. Zara stands it up centrally, and Yokokawa, well, he was close. 103 seconds to score the first in the opening half. And if he got that one on target, he would have beat his own best. That would have been a sub-90 effort from the Japanese live wire, and a third goal in 2 games. Idara over to Nicholas Olsen. He's got the fancy footwork going, and he's around all comers. Brilliant stuff from Nicholas Olsen. No end product at the end. Science wants a decision that never materialised. Heidelberg keep it going. There's a tug of the shirt that time, and that is one that will be whistled from Mark Tito, who has been certainly involved in plenty of conversations with both parties this afternoon. Heidelberg did have a fairly fervent penalty shout denied in the first half. Not that it was a right or wrong call by any stretch of the imagination. This was definitely a free kick in Heidelberg's favour, and it is Asahi Yokokawa who looks to turn provider. Josh Pinn straight into the body of Alex Condolian. Moreland have got to be careful here. You can see how much water the turf has taken in the 15-minute break for half-time. I mean, it was already wet and muddy conditions here in Faulkner, but the rain really kicked up a gear through the break. And you can see the splashes of water, the pitch certainly feeling the effects. You have to wonder how that will influence this game. Force that one to hold up, and Karamad flicks it down for Theodorakopoulos. Here's Aidan Croucher. Gives it back to Christos Theodorakopoulos, who is around one. Will he get a shot off? The answer is no, and in the end, Sousa will be able to collect. Rain has now subsided here at CB Smith. Certainly still playing a heavy involvement in the fixture. A point, it wouldn't do a great deal for Moreland's hopes of survival, but it would be more than they would have budgeted for going into the season against the Burgers. They've got to keep them out at the other end. Nicholas Olsen! Well, Alex Condolian got a glove to it, because it will be a Heidelberg corner. And taken short swiftly. Adrian Zara flips it into the box, but away by Akuno. And Croucher will look to just get his boot through it. And actually drop it rather nicely into the path of Karamad, but Lesiotis kept a cool head and picks the gap. They're starting to find some serious openings here, Heidelberg. Idara deflected. Another Heidelberg corner. As much as they have been one of the best sides in the league this season, the Burgers, they have found the going tough on the road. They've lost each of their last 3 away games going into this one. If they manage to throw this one away after leading 1-0, it'll be their equal longest losing streak away in NPL Victoria history. Oh, and that's flicked on the front post by Thomas. Prodded back in and flicked on towards goal. Yokokawa thwarted by Condolian. He's made the 3rd most saves in the league going into this game. 84 for the year. Falls back to Theodorakopoulos by fortune. It was nice from Dean Waters, the Irishman. Spall. Sands. Through the advances of Yokokawa. And the outside of the foot pass. As always, going to be fighting a losing battle in these conditions. You can see that it almost came to a total stop in a particularly heavy patch of ground at the top of the field. Point would be valuable. 3 points would be an absolute dream for Moreland. Cuba is the reason that they're level. It is he who has coughed it up. Marzis. It's a 4-on-3 for Heidelberg. Red alert for the Moreland defense. Josh Pinn. He's looking to get it back to Asahi Yokokawa, whose number 16 is almost covered with mud now. It's an end-to-end ball game. The desperation of Moreland there for all to see. Karamad in the direction of Christos Theodorakopoulos, but Aaron Souza did well off his line. Of course, a massive clash coming up for the Burgers next week in their hopes of ending the season in the top 2. Playing host to Hume City next week, and if they win that, I reckon they'll be in with a real shout. Going to leapfrog Avondale, though, in the process. Manningham United and Dandenong City, the other sides they'll face to round out the season. There is, of course, the small matter of an Australia Cup clash, which will see Aaron Souza face his former side when the Mariners come to town on August the 7th. Well, for Moreland, 6 points adrift of safety if 2 are relegated this season. If they come away with anything from today, it will be a great result, but a win would just be so massive, given they've only got one more home game for the season after this, and it is against Oakley. We'll travel to Altona next week, then the game against Oakley before rounding out the season against Thunder. So this game really is a massive one for them now that they're in with a sniff. Moved away by Waters. Marzus couldn't bring it under his spell. Thomas in the way. Akuno couldn't really do much with it. Adrian Zara back to Yaron Souza. It's become a very chaotic game in these conditions. Could the chaos favour the cellar dwellers? Theodore Akopoulos. Akuno stooping to keep it alive. Karamad gives chase forlornly. You wouldn't necessarily expect a 5th v 14th clash on a muddy pitch in driving rain to serve up serious entertainment, but I dare say that this game has done a very good job of it so far. And the 3 points remain firmly up for grabs. And the chance of Heidelberg superfan Spiro to potentially make a sub is a good reminder to go through the bench options that we may see feature in this game. There are some good ones to call on for Johnny Anastasiadis. Jamal Ali, Dom Fala, Sabit Ngor, who has, of course, provided 2 assists off the bench against the Knights last week, as well as the legendary Sean Ellis and Jaden Gorman. Those are the outfield options. For Moreland, Rahul Suresh, Shudiar Tajiath, the former Berger, Alijan Keithley and Newman Ali are the options that David Ostojic could call on. And another blessed selection, or a selection who has recently come off the bench to make an impact. It was Shudiar Tajiath in the 82nd minute. He helped Moreland secure that point last week. Popped over the top for Waters, who was offside. Long from Souza. Pin didn't muster anything in the way of a leap. Corey Thomas in the way. Oh, Idara with a solid challenge, but a legal one. Moreland end up with the ball anyway. Fast feet from Jose Sands. The Chilean back to Aiden Croucher. They move it across the back 4. Hajic boots the ball, and it breaks kindly for Asahi Yokokawa. The ground opens up ahead of him, across to Nicholas Olsen. Nicholas Olsen into the middle, and turned in for an own goal. What a painful moment for Moreland City. But Heidelberg United will not care a jot. The space opened up for Asahi Yokokawa. He fed the ball to Nicholas Olsen, and he just put it into an area. And in these conditions, it was always going to be tricky. I'm not sure who got the final touch, but it came off the body of a Moreland defender. And when you are fighting for your survival in the top flight of Victorian football, that is the last thing you need. It was exactly what Heidelberg needed. A nerve-settling second. And now they get to bring on a sub. Leo Marzus is the man who will leave the field. And after going behind Moreland City, this is the last thing that David Ostojić's men will want to see. Sabit Ngor getting ready to come on. He's played just 93 minutes for Heidelberg since making his debut a few weeks back, and in that time he has 3 goal contributions to his name already. 1 goal on his debut in the 92nd minute against Avondale, and 2 assists last week against the Knights. A goal contribution every 31 minutes, and he comes on hoping to keep up his red-hot form alongside Jamal Ali, who drops into fullback in place of Anthony Theodoropoulos. Well, they did exceptionally well, Moreland, in the first half to rally and find an equalising goal, despite surviving a few scares in the defensive end. It is a monumental effort required to do it all over again. Zara right at the feet of Jose Sands. It's a scrapper of a clearance. Multi-ball avoided by Corey Thomas. Theodoropoulos helps the ball on its way, but only as far as Adrian Zara. Sands just to get away from the challenges of the Burgers. Corey Thomas. A yellow card for the Welshman, who can't believe his eyes as Lesiotis hits the deck. Well, it was Lesiotis who managed to rob Dean Waters of possession and force Corey Thomas to slide in. So now their iconic captain today is playing his 222nd game for Moreland. He'll have to walk the tightrope. Yokokawa towards Pin. It's past his reach. Did it come off a hand from Collins? The answer, yes, in the eyes of Mark Tito. I do wonder how much risk Moreland will commit to try and scoring a second, because at this point of the season, what have they got to lose? Yokokawa didn't get it where he would have liked. His boot around the ball. Dolian will go long. They're conditions that can make for chaotic entertainment, but they are also very tricky conditions to score in. Which is why Heidelberg would have been so rapt with Moreland City effectively doing the job for them. Vidajic. Sabit Ngor denied his first touch since coming on by the Moreland defence. Yokokawa checking onto the right and blocked en route by Corey Thomas. Now Sabit Ngor will get his first involvement, and he links up with his fellow substitute Jamal Ali. Do well to work it out of here. Sabit Ngor will take the throw. If they lose today, not only will they be handful of points adrift at the bottom of the table, Moreland, but of course there are still other games to be played this weekend. Still other games to be played by their relegation rivals. Although they are tough games, it must be said. Manningham United could extend their gap to 7 points if they upset Hume. St Albans could go as far as 8 points ahead of Moreland if they get one over Oakley at Churchill Reserve tomorrow. So realistically, at this point of the season, and including this game, there are only a maximum of 12 points that they can pick up. You imagine Moreland have just got to throw everything at even an equalising goal. Anything will do except nothing from this game. Heidelberg won't cough it up easily. They are usually a very tidy defensive outfit. And will be very hopeful of their first away win since the 10th of May. And they beat Dandenong City at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. "72 days since their last win away from Olympic Village." Of course, not counting the Doherty/Australia Cup preliminaries. They did defeat Bentley Greens and their former coach George Katsakis in the Cup, but in the league it's been a different story on the road. We haven't seen a Moreland sub yet. We certainly have seen them from Heidelberg. And we've seen one of them on the ball now, Sabit Ngor, to create havoc as he enters the penalty area. Sabit Ngor to the top of the box is Yokokawa. And he just lost his footing in the muddy terrain. Cuba is asking a little bit too much of Apaya Kuno, who you can still see is fighting tooth and nail for the Moreland shirt. Heidelberg will get a free kick. In their own half. Wilson making a curved run. Pin can't latch on. And over to Matt Spall. The top it goes for Jose Sands. And he won't be able to get there. Fedahajic in the way. And more clearances than any other Heidelberg defender this year, Aiden Fedahajic. Theodorakopoulos, yeah, just couldn't really make anything happen as he tried to drop it over the top for Apaya Kuno. Although Aiden Fedahajic may be the clearance leader through the entirety of the season, but Ben Collins has almost single-handedly caught him in this game. He has been imperious. It will have to be once more as Moreland prep a free kick. Diego Cuba, the scorer of Moreland's only goal. Can he set something up to maybe get them back in the contest? It would be huge if they came back from a goal down again. Cuba's delivery made far too easy for Yaron Souza. Straight into the breadbasket. And he sets Hasiotis on his way. Olsen. Lovely line-breaking ball for Yokokawa. His turnover, a cheap one. Manages to atone for his error though, bringing it back swiftly. And it is so hard for Heidelberg to play their usual passing game with the ball holding up in the mud as much as this. But they're still managing to make it work because they're a great side. And Asahi Yokokawa is a fantastic player, and he brought the best out of Condolian there. It's still alive though for the Burgers. Ali into the middle. Yokokawa with another bite at the cherry. And Heidelberg can't knock it home. A third would kill it. But Moreland City live to fight another day. Kasra Karamad. Akuno herring down on Anthony Lesiotis. The best he can do is knock it out for a throw, which is swiftly brought back in play by Moreland. Spall. His chested touch sends him wide, and his delivery is going to send him back to his natural position. That is poor in the circumstances. You have to wonder how many times Moreland will really get to break with open paddock in the 20 minutes that remain of this game. I'm sure they'd love to score more goals, Heidelberg. They've been very good for the most part at defending their leads this season. They've kept 4 clean sheets in the second half of the year, where they have dropped off on what was a fast start in their undefeated 12 games to start the campaign. And you really feel like a third is the insurance policy that Heidelberg have turned up the ante for at the moment. But it might keep things alive. Collins, brilliant sliding challenge. Ali, nipped in the bud by Cuba. Subs looking to be imminent for Moreland. But what kind of game could they enter to? Could it be one that might be all over Red Rover? Sabit Ngor, a laboured first touch, but it holds up on the turf. And now knocked into the space of Josh Pinn. And the blue shirts get themselves in the way. Kasra Karamad to the turf. And back onto his feet swiftly. And they've got numbers forward here. Theodorakopoulos from range! Oh, Christos Theodorakopoulos. They scored a very, very good goal to equalise from 1-0 down from Diego Cuba. Christos Theodorakopoulos, who got the assist for that goal, very nearly outdid his teammate. And now he's going to get a fresh teammate as David Ostojic makes his first substitution. Off comes Dean Waters. And it is a hello remember me for Chudia Tagia, the 25-year-old who played 16 games and scored twice for the Burgers back in season 2022. David Ostojic will be hoping that in his 60th NPL Victoria game he delivers the same impact as he did in his 59th, which was coming off the bench in the 83rd minute last week against Manningham and scoring. I feel as though there is at least a goal more in this game, but could it be one that kills the game for Heidelberg United? Nicholas Olsen to bend it, and it drops into the lap of Sabit Ngor, who's just held up in the corner by Croucher. Good work by the young defender. Aiden Croucher making just his 6th start today. It's coming across from Box Hill United. Back to Alex Condolian. Doesn't get a lot of purchase on his clearance, but it works out for Moreland. Collins once more gobbling up the danger. He's been an absolute warrior in every sense today. excuse the pun. And Adrian Zara, well, there's a reason he's playing his 250th top-flight Victorian football game today, because he is an experienced, clever player. And he showed his experience there, just flicking it into the shins of Apaya Kuno, a cheap goal kick that relieves the pressure for the visiting side. "15 minutes to play. Heidelberg in the ascendancy thanks to the only goal of the second half. Moreland turning it into their own net. Oh, a swing and a miss from Jamal Ali. Is this the opening for Moreland? The cross is in search of the substitute, Tarjiath, who is just able to keep it in play. Tarjiath onto the left. The cross takes a touch, and Collins lumps it away. Tarjiath again. That time he does run out of room. Next goal in this game, absolutely crucial. Heidelberg have certainly had the openings to kill it, and they might have another here. Sabit Ngor for Asahi Yokokawa with teammates to aim at, and none of them found. Kerr Arob with the intervention. Cuba to flip it over the top, but Judiar Tarjiath perhaps just still coming up to the speed of the game. Kasra Karamad had a bit of joy coming up against Jamal Ali, and that is a great pass for Jose Sands. He was offside, but you can't fault the invention of Christos Theodorakopoulos. An effortless little stab pass. Jose Sands will have to wait a while longer to get back on the scorer's sheet. A bit of a slow start to life as a Moreland player. Managing his first goal after 7 rounds. He had a bit of a burst in the mid-season, or middle of the season rather. And in fairness, so too did Moreland. That was when they won back-to-back games here at CB Smith. Both of their footballing wins for the season against Green Gully and Dandenong Thunder. And since that middle stretch, there's only 1 goal in his last 7 for Jose Sands. And that last one was against Dandenong Thunder on the 11th of May. So rather, that was his last home goal, I should say. He's obviously scored subsequent to that against South Melbourne. And more reinforcements off the bench for the Burgers as they look to put this contest to bed. Gee, they've got a lot to look at as this substitution comes off. So we've got 2 players swapping places, and we had Aidan Croucher off to probably the left-hand side of your screen doing up the shoelaces of his goalkeeper, Alex Condolian. In any case, here are the subs for Heidelberg. Jaden Gorman, former Perth Glory youth player, onto the park. Don Falla is the man who joins him. Theodorakopoulos' delivery is towards Kurt Arob. Kept alive by Spall. There was a tug of the shirt and no whistle from Mark Tito. Olsen. Moreland players snapping at his heels. Eventually they force through their pressure the turnover. Cuba got himself in trouble. Moreland are rallying once more. Chudia Tajiath looking to unload. It's the former Berger who can't really trouble his former side, but wins it back. They're going down swinging in this game, and they're trying to avoid going down. Akuno's cross, away by Ali. It's end-to-end stuff at Faulkner in the final 10. Jaden Gorman, great first touch. Couldn't pick out Ngor. And Nathan Croucher leaving life on the edge. They've got the bit between their teeth at the moment, Moreland. They are really pressing right now. Heidelberg have to be careful. Tajian drops it down for Sands, whose turn was easy on the eye, but it was watched all the way by Aiden Fedahajic. And they are starting to throw more numbers forward. And that time, Fedahajic can do nothing more than stab it out for a Moreland corner ball. These are the kind of moments, kind of games on which a season, a quest for survival can hinge. The delivery is a decent one, tipped away by Souza. Only as far as the top of the technical area where Jose Sands had a pop. Couldn't get it on target. The point, if they get one here for Moreland City, it certainly wouldn't save them. To come back from a goal down twice against Heidelberg would be the kind of belief that could set them up for a great escape. Croucher, big up and under, well controlled by Sands. They are really pushing. Heidelberg will take passes like that every single day of the week. Sean Ellis, the Heidelberg icon, is ready to come on. Thomas, back to Condolian. Hot and heavy football for Diego Cuba to deal with. Great control from Kasra Karaman. And returning the favour wonderfully, Theodorakopoulos. And now Sands over the top. The offside flag didn't come up! Incredible! What a massive Moreland moment! Jose Sands with an 83rd minute equaliser. The Heidelberg defence froze. The offside flag never arrived, and the finish was unerring from the Chilean.
Moreland City, the score 2-2.
Against the odds and against a lot of expectations, Moreland City level once more, and might that be the spark of hope? That their quest for survival needs. Jose Sands to the rescue. And now we have 7 minutes left plus stoppage. And a massive grandstand finish in the offing. This is what the end of the season is all about. Both sides will go for the win. Heidelberg certainly will not take this draw lying down. They needed a 90th minute winner back in round 10 to see off Moreland. It was Josh Pinn who saved the day in the final minute of regulation, and they will require similar heroics here if they are to take all 3 points. Ellis. Ngor. Critical moments here. Sabit and Gore whizzes along the surface at CB Smith. The sun has just poked out from behind a cloud here in Faulkner. And although weather-wise it's been tough stuff in the northern suburbs, figuratively speaking, the sun has shone on this game, and it's been a gripping watch from start to finish. A goal after 105 seconds, and a goal could be potentially coming to win it in the final seconds, the final minutes. It would be absolute pandemonium if Moreland find a winner. Theodore Akopoulos, just held up in the turf. There will be scenes of jubilation for Heidelberg if they win it in their own right. They could well. Sean Ellis doesn't get the decision from Mark Tito. Even though it was only a goal, the margin. And Heidelberg United, they took their lead through a Moreland own goal. Well, that's driven in harmlessly in the end. The chances of Moreland, the wind it took out of their sails to concede an own goal, made it seem as though coming back again would be a feat nigh on impossible. But the odds have been against them all season. And the odds were against them, and they managed to stare them in the face. And maybe at 2-2 they can do it again in what remains of this game. The stage feels set for a heroic late winner. Will it be a spark of hope for Moreland? Well, let's find out. Tarjiaf, Sands, great gut running to keep it alive for the home side. Kasra Karamad, back to Sands, who is the hero as it stands, but will someone else write their name up in lights? It's Julia Tarjiaf! And it was begging for a touch from Akuno. It somehow stayed in, and Heidelberg can clear. Thomas judged it best, but couldn't keep it in play. Wow. Heidelberg are almost hanging on at the moment. This is unbelievable. Kasra Karamad was a bit too hot and heavy. You could see the tug of the shirt. Punted forward. Pumped away by Matt Spall. Moreland season on the line, and they are playing like it right now. Diego Cuba to the Moreland legend, Apai Akuno. Just didn't catch it. 2 minutes left, stoppage time to come. And a fixture that has not disappointed. And a fixture that could still delight either of these sides with a late winner. They will take the point, Moreland, but a win would just be colossal. And they are looking odds on at the moment. Akuno down the left channel with options in the middle, but none of them located. Kept alive though, Matt Spall. And here is a shot from range from Diego Cuba. Lesiotis to Gorman. Can Heidelberg pull off the great escape? Or could Moreland get a win? That would be a massive, massive way to help them pull off the great escape of relegation. Start to take a look towards the fourth official board. Tom Elliott will add stoppage time on shortly, but first there is the small matter of a final substitution. It is a bold one from David Stojic. Off comes Apaya Kuno. And in stoppage time, we will see 20-year-old Rahul Suresh, who has made only 2 substitute appearances, the 2-time Sri Lankan international since signing from Langwarrin Soccer Club. This would be some time to open his account. Spall couldn't keep it alive. 5 minutes of stoppage. It is more than enough time for a final goal at Faulkner. Jaden Gorman.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 5 minutes of added time.
Jamal Ali. Still going, Jamal Ali. Mazy stuff from the fullback. Zara's touch. Escaping him at the crucial moment. And we'll look to lock it in now, not leaving anything to chance, the cellar dwellers. Zara launches it in the pin direction. Thomas's touch was so important. Spall hits the deck, collects a fair bit of mud, and has a fair bit to say to Jaden Gorman, who finds his place in the referee's book. The heavens have reopened. It would be divine intervention if either side make it 3-2. Here's the shining sun, the open heavens, a prescient omen for Moreland. Condolian kicks long as it drives down at CB Smith. Theodorakopoulos robbed of possession on the edge of the box. That'll sit for Olsen. He'll buy a bit of a yard. Ali will have another crack. Back at the feet of Nicholas Olsen. Over the top it goes. Josh Pinn on the charge into the middle. Josh Pinn, another crack. But it had come out of play. A goal kick for Moreland. Condolian sending his numbers long. Are we set for the same late drama that saw the sides split at Olympic Village in round 10? Sands. One back by Ngor. Ball. Or not. They are not happy about it. Are we out of time for a winner? Or is there one last opening for either of these two sides? Picked up by Dom Fowler. Lesiotis into the path of Sean Ellis. If anyone could do it, or if anyone could set it up, it could be Sean Ellis. But it's a fully committed challenge. Collins back to the Flamehead Scott. And it's put into a really great area. Punched away by Condolian. Sabine Gore! He's pulled it out of the fire! Sabine Ngor, a Heidelberg hero again. The cruelest of heartbreak for Moreland City. But if there is a team in NPL Victoria who know how to score late, it's the Cardiac Kids, Heidelberg United. And it is one of their newest who does the job for them. Seconds left. And Sabit Ngor stands and delivers in stoppage time again. And the sense of relief from those in yellow around CB Smith is palpable. It is so palpable. But the job isn't done. Suresh. Tarjiath. The kitchen sink is to come from Moreland potentially. Tarjiath, a little shallow, picked up by Corey Thomas, and just prodded away by Ali. Ellis, setting a task for Pin. Condolian hits the deck. How long do we have left in this game? It's at the discretion of Mark Tito. Souza will gobble that up and shoo the seconds away. The tunnel grill has been pulled out, so there can't be long left. They couldn't do it again, could they, Moreland? Rahul Suresh poking it across for Diego Cuba. Fantastic commitment from Anthony Lesiotis. Suresh with back to goal. Rather, it was Jose Sands. Ellis couldn't get it clear. It manages to get free. How did he do that, Sean Ellis? And now Pin with Ngor in the middle. They could kill it here into the middle, but cut out by Spall. Heidelberg survive a massive Moreland scare at CB Smith. Sabit Ngor, the hero in the dying seconds. What a game in Faulkner. Well, it is the first time Heidelberg have beaten Moreland City in a league fixture as the away side in 55 years. And it is only fitting that a piece of history like that is marked by a game that should go down in history. From minute 1 to minute 94, this one had drama. Asahi Yokokawa had Heidelberg ahead after 105 seconds, and that should have been the sign that we were on for a good thing today. Moreland, to their credit, rallied a number of times. They found an equaliser late into the first half through Diego Cuba, which was a brilliant goal. They could have thrown in the towel after an own goal, put them behind early into the second half. Diego Cuba came to their rescue in the 81st minute after a very marginal offside non-call, which seems so unlikely, but it wasn't to be for the visitors. The Cardiac Kids, Heidelberg United, struck late again, and Sabit Ngor, as he did on his debut against Avondale to rescue a point, pops up with a goal that seals all three in an absolute thriller. The bitterest of pills to swallow for Moreland City as the grim fate of relegation starts to grow in its threat. But what a rallying win for the Burgers on the eve of finals. A massive game that ends their winless run away from home. And it wasn't easy, but boy, was it entertaining. We hope you've enjoyed it if you've been watching it at home on NPL Victoria YouTube. And myself, Lockie Flanagan, and Sportscast Australia, we bid you farewell from an absolute thriller. Saturday afternoon, round 23. The final score from CB Smith Reserve, Moreland City 2, Heidelberg United 3.